Do you do surveys at work, at home? Surveying at home is a little strange. Maybe in a church or a religious group, right? If so, we're going to talk about the 5 ways you can make those surveys a little more effective and give you a little better results when you're actually trying to do surveys. Number 1, right? Think about the purpose of your survey. This tip is just start with a goal in mind. Figure out what you want to get out of surveying the population that you're trying to survey, whether that's people in a church group, whether that's your clients or your customers, or whether that's a segment of your coworkers. Whatever it is, come up with a goal that you want to meet, something you want to understand, and start designing your survey focusing around that. That'll give you a good idea of what questions you should ask and how you can understand what you're going to do with this data, because surveys without action are really pointless. Number 2, choosing the right tool, right? This can make a huge difference. If you choose the wrong tool in doing your survey, you may have the proverbial 300-pound gorilla in a room that is way too big, way too complex, isn't needed for the situation that you're in. And instead, you could use the absolute right tool for your situation. So in some cases, the right tool may literally be a piece of paper and some pens that can be passed out. In other situations, you could use an online platform, something like SurveyMonkey or Qualtrics. In certain situations, you may want to use something that comes with hardware. The Polls for Good system, for instance, is a great example of a population that doesn't necessarily have access to smartphones or other things, or you may want the anonymity that comes from a kiosk or from a phone number or a QR code survey. So finding the right tool for what you're doing is really important, because you want the precise right tool to get you the right results. If you go with the wrong tool, you'll either get results that are skewed in a certain direction for those that are more comfortable with technology, for instance, or you may end up paying a lot more for something that really isn't needing to be that expensive. And the best way to get value out of a survey is to make sure that your value proposition is aligned to begin with. Tip number 3, run your survey for long enough. I see lots of people that run a survey, they send it out, they get 20 responses, and then they start looking at it and saying, well, this is obviously what's happened. Right now, it depends on how big your group is. If you had 20 people and you get 20 responses, excellent. If you have 20 people and you get 15 responses, it's pretty great, right? But make sure that you run it long enough to be able to get enough of the population that you're dealing with, run it long enough that you can make some good value calls and judgments based off of the groups that you have. Being able to run it over a length of time also gives you good A/B test time to be able to test out different questions, different types, different areas, and to give you a good historical data trends to try and understand, how is my survey responses impacted by weather, by seasons, by holidays, by all sorts of things. Understanding those things and having a long-running longitudinal survey can really be helpful in trying to understand how can I help my population. Number 4, analyze your feedback. Now this is a really interesting thing, but lots of people run surveys and do it just for the sake of running surveys. Surveys contain an immense amount of data, and implicit in that is trust. Trust from the survey taker to the person giving the survey that you're going to do the right things with the data that I give you. Now, it can be very easy to have lots of survey data and just look at the high level notes, how satisfied were people in a percentage, what is my star ranking, those type of things. Digging down deeper into the comments if you have free text fields, or into breaking it by demographics if you use a tool that allows you to do that, really can help you understand, are we actually serving everybody the right way? Is there a way for us to improve? Think back to that first tip of what was our goal. Our goal is probably not just to know how many 5-star responses we have. We can find that out. And sure, that's great for marketing. But if you want to improve, which should be the goal of all surveys, if you really want to improve, then digging down and analyzing your data, filtering, comparing, looking at reports, those type of things can really make a survey go from meh, great, we have 4 to 5 stars, to hey, here's some real actionable items that we can work on. Number 5, test your survey out. Right? I can't tell you how many times surveys end up going out without anybody actually testing it. Are questions right? Do they make sense? Bring in some other collaborators. Be able to look at different things and see, have I removed my own personal bias from these questions? Am I leading people in certain ways? Testing not only the distribution technology, if it's pen and paper, how am I getting that out to people? If it's online, how is that going to go out to people? If it's using kiosks, toll-free phone numbers, QR codes, text messages, test all of those things to make sure that the kinks are worked out. because you only get a few chances to be able to actually get survey responses from people. And this is really a transition of trust. And so when I am taking it, if I'm not going to trust a system that doesn't work, I'm just going to walk away. It's not going to be worth my time. And so making sure that my emails look good, that my text messages are great, that my pen and paper forms are ready to go, whatever it is, test it out beforehand, involve others, and spend the time to make your surveys great. Okay, this has been 5 easy tips to make your surveys better. Just to review again, begin with something in mind. Have a purpose. Start a survey with a goal of what you want to accomplish. Pick the right tool. Don't use something that's too heavy. Don't use something that's too light. Find the exact right tool for what you need. Run it for long enough. Make sure your survey isn't just going out for a day or for a few hours. Make sure that you give people ample enough time to answer what you need and to get you, comparison data to weed out any other issues that may be popping up there or any other variables that may influence what you're doing. Number 4, analyze things, right? Actually look at your data. Spend the time. You spend all this time to gather the data. Spend some time looking at it and try and understand it. And number 5, test it out beforehand, right? Spend some time testing, and it'll make your entire experience much better. Thanks for popping in the Polls for Good channel. If you want more of these videos, please hit the like button, subscribe. If you're interested in learning more about surveys or about how the Polls for Good platform makes it really, really easy for you to gather surveys from people that are vulnerable, or even if you want to know what being vulnerable is and what populations are vulnerable, check out our channel, check out some of the other videos, and we'd be happy to share more with you.